There are stories buried deeper than ruins, deeper than bones. Some live in hospital halls that no longer stand. Others in whispers carried from midwife to midwife. This is one of them. A tale not found in history books, but in the shiver down a mother's spine. He was once a healer, admired, respected, called the guardian of life. But what he wanted was more. Not just to deliver life, but to design it. To craft children in the image of his own perfection. To shape not just bodies, but minds, souls, futures. He believed the womb was a laboratory, and in it he planted things no woman ever agreed to grow. This is the story of the doctor, who betrayed nature, and paid for it in silence, shadow, and screams no one could explain. In a crumbling city by the river, there stood a clinic with white walls and locked doors. Women came there with hope, with pain, with the promise of safe birth, and they left, sometimes with silence, sometimes with something else. The doctor greeted each patient with gentle eyes and steady hands. He asked their names, held their wrists, told them to breathe. But in his journals, he never wrote their names, only their measurements, their family line, the shape of their skull. He believed the womb could be rewritten, with herbs, with blood, with the right insertions. And slowly, he stopped delivering children and started building them. She came alone, no husband, no name, just a belly that moved too soon. The doctor studied her like a riddle. He asked no questions. He only measured the curve of her spine, the tilt of her hips, the size of her skull, and her eyes, golden, not brown, not amber, but golden like coins in candlelight. This one, he whispered, will carry the first. He fed her strange tinctures, whispered prayers in a dead language, over her womb each night. She did not resist. Her eyes were always calm, until one day, she screamed, not from pain, but from something moving inside her. Far too early. He placed his hand on her stomach, felt the pulse of something more than human. He smiled, not with joy, with triumph. No midwife was called. No water was warmed. The doctor locked the doors and told the nurses to stay away. This one is delicate, he said. This one is different. The woman was quiet. She bled early. She bled too much. But she never cried, just clutched the sides of the table and stared at the ceiling, as if watching something crawl across it. Then came the sound. Not a baby's cry, not a scream, but a low hum, like wind, inside bone. The doctor leaned close. He whispered, "You are my first." What came out of her was small, pale, but with eyes that opened too wide, a chest that barely moved, but did not stop. He wrapped it in cloth, not to warm it, but to hide it. And when the mother reached to hold it, he turned away. Beneath the clinic, past the stone steps, and behind the laundry storeroom, there was a locked room, small, damp, lit only by one flickering lantern, and in it, a cradle, but no toys, no blankets, just silence. He placed the child inside, watched it breathe, watched it blink, too slowly. His limbs moved strangely, as if learning not how to stretch, but how to reach. The doctor recorded everything. Muscle response, inconsistent. Eyes track sound, not light. No cry, no smile, only watching. He fed it through a tube, spoke to it in gentle tones, not as a father, as a designer. And when it first stood, not crawled, but stood, 1 month too early, he fell to his knees and whispered, "You are the beginning." The clinic grew quieter. Fewer women came, and those who did never came twice. They left pale, hollow-eyed, some without babies, some without words. One nurse began asking questions. Why do we burn the bedding after every birth? Why do no fathers visit? The doctor smiled, told her it was for hygiene, for safety. But his smile didn't reach his eyes. In the cellar, more cradles appeared. 3, then 5, each with something inside. All quiet, all awake. The doctor worked alone now. Even the midwives refused to assist. But he didn't care. "They don't understand," he whispered. "I'm not ending life. I'm perfecting it." Outside, the wind howled. Inside, something else began to breathe. In unison, he came at dusk. A man in a faded coat, holding a worn photograph. In his eyes, confusion. In his voice, hope. "My brother's wife came here," he said. "She was due to give birth. But now, they've both disappeared." The doctor nodded slowly, invited him inside, offered tea. So many mothers pass through, he said. It's easy to lose track. But the man's hands trembled. She wrote me a letter, he said. She said the baby kicked too early. Said something was wrong. The doctor's eyes twitched. Just once. Then calm. Childbirth is often frightening, he said softly. Not all children are ordinary. The man stood to leave, but paused in the hallway. A sound, not crying, not laughter, but murmuring. Dozens of voices, small, uneven, all speaking at once, behind a locked door. He turned to ask, but the doctor was gone. It began at night. A low voice, soft as wind, through broken glass. A whisper, not learned, but remembered. The doctor froze. He stepped into the cellar, where 7 cradles waited. One child sat upright, eyes wide, not blinking. It opened its mouth and said his name, not in a baby's coo, but in a voice too old, a voice that had weight, history, hunger. Do you see me now? It asked. The doctor stumbled backward, not out of fear, but awe. Yes, he whispered. Yes, I do. He wrote nothing that night, only sat beside the cradle, staring into eyes that never looked away, not once. They came without warning. 3 figures in dark coats, not local, not friendly. They didn't ask to come inside. They commanded it. We've heard the rumors, one said. We need to see the children. The doctor stood silent, his hands behind his back, his breath slow. There are no children here, he replied. But one of them held up a photo, a blurred image of a child's eye, far too large, glowing in candlelight. We've seen enough, they said. That night, the doctor moved quickly, whispered instructions to the children, who did not sleep, opened secret passageways he had built long ago. It's not time for the world to see you, he told them. Not yet. The next morning, the visitors returned, but the cradles were empty, the clinic abandoned, and in the dust. One phrase written in chalk on the floor: perfection waits beneath the city, past the drains and the dry tunnels, where no maps reached. They waited. The doctor had carved rooms into the rock itself, cold, narrow, airless chambers. But they did not cry. They did not need warmth. They whispered to each other, not in words, in patterns, taps, breaths, small rhythmic pulses. He watched them grow, their bones longer, eyes sharper, minds connected. One of them drew symbols in the dirt, symbols the doctor had never taught, symbols he did not recognize. He smiled, then wept. You are beyond me now, he said. You are what comes next. But deep inside, a whisper took root. What if they don't need me at all? What if they never did? It was found years later, beneath a floorboard, bound in cracked leather. No name on the cover, just a symbol, a spiral inside a womb. The pages were brittle, filled with sketches, not of people, but of possibilities. Notes written in a hurried hand, equations mixed with scripture, herbal diagrams beside maps of the nervous system. Then came the list, names crossed out, dates beside question marks. One line circled in red: perfection cannot be born. It must be built. The last page was nearly blank, only a single sentence centered and shaking. They are still alive. No one claimed the journal. No one dared. But in the town below, people began to whisper again, of strange noises in the tunnels, of flickering lights beneath the stones, of something still growing. She was old now, hair gray, hands soft with age, but her eyes still sharp. She had worked there once, in that clinic, long before it vanished. She didn't speak of it often, but sometimes, in the quiet hours, her voice would tremble. They weren't babies, she said. They didn't blink. They didn't cry. They watched. The people around her thought she was fading, thought the past had blurred her mind. But when children walked past her porch, she stared, and sometimes whispered, not like them, not like those. She kept a drawer locked. Inside, a single cloth, yellowed with time, stained with something dark, and wrapped inside it, a tooth, long, thin, not human. He said they were the future, she murmured, but they never looked at him like he was part of it. The new hospital was built over stone, modern, clean, bright, but the foundations ran deep, deeper than they realized. At first it was nothing, just flickering lights in the basement. Strange interference in the machines. Then came the sounds, whispers, from air vents, from behind walls. Janitors complained. Nurses refused the night shift. One doctor followed the noise, down into an old maintenance tunnel. The air was thick, warm though the winter was bitter. He found a stone door, half buried in concrete, a spiral symbol etched into its surface. He pressed his hand to it and felt a heartbeat. He never spoke again. She was only 6, laughed like other children, played like them too. But when she looked at you, it felt like being studied, not watched, measured. Her drawings weren't of flowers or houses. They were diagrams, veins, wombs, symbols no one had taught her. She told her teacher once, "I used to be in a cold place, with candles. He talked to me every day." "Who?" the teacher asked. She smiled. "The one who made me." Her parents thought it was imagination, but her mother began to dream. Dreams of white rooms, of a man's voice saying, "You are strong enough to carry it." And in the back of the child's closet, they found something wrapped in cloth, a symbol drawn in chalk, the spiral, and the words scrawled by a child's hand, "Not yet finished." During renovations, they found a door behind a sealed wall. No records, no blueprints, but it was old, older than the hospital, older than the foundation itself. Workers broke the seal. Inside, a square room with no windows, and walls covered in faded symbols. Symbols that spiraled and twisted, until the eyes hurt. At the center, a stone basin, dry, but lined with scratches, not like tools, like fingers. They tried to photograph the room, but every image came back blurred. They sent an architect, but the dimensions were wrong. "It's bigger on the inside." One whispered. The door was resealed, quietly. But that night, one janitor saw a light, glowing beneath the crack in the floor, and heard a single word, whispered through stone, "Return." The journal was never finished. The last page was torn, scorched at the edges, but one note survived, written in trembling ink, as if the hand that held the pen was no longer steady. "They are not monsters," he wrote. "They are mirrors." What I bred was not horror, but honesty. The womb was only the beginning. The rest, they built themselves. And beneath it, no name, just the spiral, drawn once more, carved into the parchment, like a wound. Some say his creations still live, not underground, but among us, children who never quite fit, who speak too clearly, think too fast, see too much. They don't remember him, but somewhere in their blood, they still carry the question he asked every night as he stared into the cradle. What if we could choose what humanity becomes? And what if we already did?